Hmm? Hello, hello. Oh goodness, I should probably have my opening screen for just a moment longer. Welcome, welcome. Aaron, nice to see you. Cookie, you as well. Welcome, welcome. Zacharias. Welcome, Buck. Gotten. And you as well, Ray, of course. Welcome. Zacharias. Is that how I say? Am I saying that even remotely correctly? I suppose it's my own name, so I can't be mispronouncing it, huh? Hello, hello, Nina. No, not even close. Zacharias? No. Well, today I'm probably going to ramble a little bit about the world, and I'll be looking at chat pretty much the whole time, grabbing questions from people. Maybe we'll float around a couple different places. Maybe we'll visit a few locations. We could look at some of the questions of the day. If people... So I've had some quite strong opinions on a couple of them. There have been some really good questions here and there. Beyond that, we'll talk a little bit about design, about the new season, just briefly, as it's coming up. We're still a ways away. But the design is done. Essentially. The design's never fully done until we're on stage, I suppose. Here, I'll put out a little... I guess I could poke everyone in global and see if they want to come join, but I think instead of that, we'll just chill with whoever comes by. You're excited for the new season? I have a banger name for the new season now. Finally, a good one came to me. Cool. The new season is going to be called Greater Than Greed. Here we go. Okay, I see my name in the chat there. Zohariash. Okay, understood. No hard noises. That's nice. I'm glad you all appreciate it. It's a good one. Literally revolves around greed. Yeah, it's gonna be a really interesting time. Lots of money, chances for daggers in the dark. And of course, a wonderful twist. It'll be a good season. I've enjoyed the design of it a fair bit. And you'll have all your usual people around, running around as their little guys. Except this time we'll actually kind of, sort of be little guys. Won't be ridiculously powerful people. I still don't have... I might finally get one done for just me. Because there's a couple games I'd like to stream here and there. It's just, don't know if I should. Might not matter. Laughs in privateer, says Noxus. So we're floating around in Stone Bay right now. The Lord of Flickering Lights was a little guy to you? Yeah, we did well enough at making people believe in or want to interact with all those characters. I really enjoyed all that. So we're going to do it again. But we've learned and become stronger than ever before. So, you know, should be fun. Let me sort my notes so that I can see them and read chat and float around. Ooh, I'm a little laggy over here these days. I might have too many things open in the background. Hey! Oh, it's a friend. Hey there. Oh man, looking that way is leggy right now for some reason. That's okay. I'm glad you're excited. We filled up most of our campaigns, so that's very cool. We'll be running through those. Once I get those requests out, stuff for the season will begin. But how's the interim been thus far? Those of you who have enjoyed hopping around. Have you been having fun with your own little stories, taking the time to develop your characters? Perhaps getting a better understanding of how they're going to react to the world, or maybe just having fun. Some fun character development, Nico? It's good to hear. Been enjoying it? Mm-hmm. Joining in between seasons is always nice, especially if you want some time to get acquainted with how your character reacts with stuff. Nothing quite so large happens, which is good. You've slid in. Welcome, welcome, Bubble. Welcome, welcome. Your character's depressed, did she? But a development? Oh dear. Terrible things happening can be a good motivator, a good seed, per se, for your character to decide to change. And hopefully be better, but not every character changes for the better. I think most stories should lead towards the characters involved becoming better people, but I am also a fan of tragedy, so you know, hey. Always welcome in, Bubble. I saw the seeds of your work earlier. What's flavor? That's your decision, indeed. You get to decide what the change is. That's the whole fun of playing it. Oh boy, let's fly out to the countryside. For some reason I'm leggy today. You're innocent. Oh, I can't. I like to think I can only believe what I hear and piece together, but you know. I could enter limbo, I suppose. You've been vibing at Horizon Gate and chilling? Worried about the future and what it might bring? Well, I can tell you this season's going to be comparatively relaxed. It doesn't mean there's not going to be stakes and people aren't going to be invested. It's just not going to be you losing your entire life and family and everything you've ever known. Indeed, I think people will be just as attached, if not more so, to this season, the way it progresses. They just won't be in pain, which is nice. That's the idea. Putting me into limbo perpetually? No! Let's flip through Eternum. Maybe. Hard to say. The design of this season is much like that of the prior one. Much like that of Season 3. However, using a number of things we learned to improve it for all of your experience. And for ours as well, actually. How do the Glades exist? The Glades are a piece of the Fae that has bled through a number of times. They were always weaker. They were tied to the world by magic. Magic that was done by Morgantha and her coven, shortly before her coven died. In the old Eternum, you would get to the massive mountain in the center, and you would wander down to the tree, where the whispering voices of the dead coven would speak to you. Because in some way they're there, haunting the place. In some way, whether it's actually them or trickster spirits or ideas or belief, we'll leave that up to interpretation. Welcome to the tree that represents renewal. You're wondering what impact you can have with the privateers. Well, I'm sure you'll have plenty of opportunity to get involved in the next season as privateers. Can you tell us what people should train to prepare for the next season? If you want to have the most opportunity to get involved in the next season, really what we're going to be trying to do is giving opportunities for people to do stuff they haven't done before and getting involved in the operations of the world. Traders, merchants, thieves. Build your skills in areas connecting to these. And I think you'll find plenty of success this coming season. You've never broken anyone's heart purposefully, Dima? So, who in chat cried something related to Austin? I did. You know when I cried related to Austin? Because I never, like, there's a little piece of Austin that irks in me in my heart, that prods at it. Makes me just not like him. However, when I realized that Austin was certainly doomed, no matter what, despite all the things that the people were doing, and despite, like, it just made the most sense. It made the most sense for the narrative, for the story, for the character. Like, there was a little bit of me that was like, that's horrible and terrible and sad and beautiful in a way. And that's when I cried. I haven't cried much on it related to the server. I cried when Meldor died, but not immediately, because I knew he was gonna die. I cried when other people started crying. You didn't know him enough? That's fair. Yeah, Demon does good work. We'll swoop right. And I'm so excited. My Hannah Montana boot pillow. We have some fun characters set up for the next season. I think we're gonna have some fun. I'll be coming as Urgus Glowgorge, famed explorer. I discovered Kara, you know. That's all you get. The rest is secretive. Any suggestions for finding more crew? I think the best thing you can do is just be doing fun stuff regularly. Focus on making sure you're having fun. And consider allowing other people the chance to come and join. And I bet some of the people who have fun with you will want to have more fun with you. If you have enough soft power, you can always make them join you to have that fun, but I don't like that method. What's the best way to make lore that integrates into my world? Oh boy, that's a broad question. I think if you're on the server, the best thing you can do is you can set up a consultation with writing team. Or you can catch me on one of these streams and just get me rambling about something. Soon, TM, I don't know when, but soon, TM, we should have some information that'll allow you the basis of information on the wider world of Ulvunter, so that everyone can access it, and especially for the writers, they'll have a proper understanding of various things that otherwise they have learned through osmosis over the course of a year or so, or two. Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question. Basically, you can always open up a writing ticket, or you can ask me about stuff when I do one of these. You have some event plans. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Can you explain Kara a little, like the society and all? Kara is a very interesting place in my world overall because its population is minuscule. Even if we look at its population, including people who are not really active, but we just say they're living here, and like the villagers and stuff, it's like a couple hundred people, like maybe 400. Which for a community is a lot of people, but in the wider world is not enough to really exert your power. What you have to know is that Kara is very unique. It is the land where heroes go to die, which is not actually as bad a thing as it sounds when the people of the Baili, which is the nearest peoples to Kara, say that. What they actually mean is that Kara is where, when heroes are done with their journey, that is where they go. It's sort of like the afterlife to them. And indeed, I've had a couple of characters describe Kara in that sort of way, like an afterlife. Some negatively, like Freyd, who described it as a purgatory, and some positively, like Tyrannel, who described it as an eternity. A chance for eternity. Oh yeah, you probably that kind of music. I have all kinds of music playing in the background from my usual D&D lists. Tell us more about Greater Falana. Let me come back to that one, Cookie. Greater Falana is where I've run most of my campaigns. It's where Niceed is. It's where Dacia is. It's where my current campaign, By Blackened Blood, is being run. It's where the most has happened in my world because I've run the most campaigns there. There are heroes from all over who are worshipped and welcomed all over the world for what they've done, whether it be gathering forces to battle Maldor, or stopping demons from pouring out of the wound, or going to fight against the forces of La Duca, which is the vampire progenitor in my world. La Duca refers to one duke, Danaran di Viscardi. By Black and Blood mentioned. Indeed, we streamed an episode earlier today. You like Edward's? Yeah, you have Captain's theme as Edward's theme. Good choice. It is a place tied to the Titans and to its own pantheons of gods, with a people so diverse and so separated by the forces of nature that when trouble arises, that is really what pushes them together. Otherwise, they tend to live their own lives, connected only by trade. What else do we have? Let me see. There was a bunch of other questions while I was answering that, I think. He did keep telling Phoenix he was flying into a trap. Indeed. Indeed. The Lord of Flickering Lights was a good guy, right? He was just a trickster. The granny knew how to play off people's fears and their wants, though. Very manipulative. And I did try to make sure that people... I think everyone understood that when I was interacting with them. I hope so. Because I don't want to manipulate the person. I want the character to try and manipulate the character. You know? What narrative aspect am I most excited to see in this next season? This next season, I'm very excited to see how people come to trust each other. The way the story is set up is going to be somewhat divisive at times, because you will not be expected to, and indeed we are basically planning that you won't be able to go to every event. And so you will have a very hard time collecting every perspective, which means everyone's understanding will be different. And I think it'll all come together very beautifully. There's some books in the library about the world outside Kara. Thank you very much, Y. And we'll have ever more information coming, of course. Booze and items. Is every D&D stream you do in your world? Indeed, every D&D stream I do is in my world. I am streaming Curse of Strahd on Monday, so tomorrow. However, even that, I have it themed so that it's set in my world. It's really cool to see little things like, rather than Saint Andril, the temples are dedicated to Saint Lucinia. Things like that. Cookie did a really cute little animation. That should go out. Let's see. Oh god. Okay. What is my greatest inspiration? Oh, there's a couple answers to that question, I think. My greatest inspiration of all, if I were to collectivize an idea and place that together, I would probably say that it is the players who I'm playing with. It's when they really enjoy an aspect of something, whether it's something they're building or they're building off of and adding to something. It really is that idea of that collective story building, that we're kind of doing it together, that really inspires me to create, right? As for what I pull from, everyone pulls from different bits of media. There's a couple of books that really form the foundation of my stuff. I call it the foundation of fantasy, but it really is just my foundation of fantasy. Things like The Inheritance Cycle, most people know that one. Things like The Black Company, like The Lies of Loch Lamora, like Dune, these kinds of things. His greed may or may not have killed a very good friend. Oh no. Always looks to different perspectives. Makes it hard for her. You're gonna be able to get some different perspectives. You just won't be able to get all of them. It'll be impossible. Well, not impossible. I guess you could play on the server every day for several hours and you could get it all, but we expect most people will be unable to do that. What else do we have here? When you had to go to the Glades and get the rules from the granny? Yeah, that was your job. That was you. You had been set up to be the herald of Kara. It was very cool. Have I ever read Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere books? I have not. Why? I have not read them, but I have heard of them. And let me tell you, I haven't heard of most books. Why? Which means they're probably pretty good. They're really good? Okay, I'll give it a flick. Maybe there's something in there I'll like enough to work and rework until it's worth putting in the world. A healthy intake of new ideas is important, whether it's from other people or other sources. Very important. A Dacia mention. I love Dacia. This season's going to be very short compared to the prior season. It's going to be very action-packed, but very short. We're looking at just a little bit more than 2 months. It's going to be somewhere between, somewhere around 10 weeks. Where else should we go? Music's getting dangerous. No, it should be quite quick, but there should be several season-based events a week. Sometimes as many as 4 or 5. It's gonna be a whole thing. I cry for event team when we start rescheduling stuff. We'll do it plenty in advance. Did I miss any questions on my way down? Friends could tell, so I learned about the goddess of innovation. Oh, about Kaisen. The goddess of technically the ocean goddess. She was born out of people's need to overcome the damn river, actually. And she is one of Dashia's very human gods. There is literally a floating mountain outside Dashia that floats around the countryside, and whenever it moves, for days and sometimes a week or two on end, depending on how far it's moving, there is a wind constantly in one direction that they call the God's Wind. Very cool stuff. Kaisen often, like, her temples have people who study for a decade under a certain profession and then serve in that profession under the temple. Very focused on things like shipbuilding and architecture, that kind of stuff. Various engineers, you know. But they also have some people who work in martial stuff and some people who are purely clerical. Events planned, like those books. Is there anything you can tell us about Maldor's spell going away will affect Kara? Which spell? That's my question to you. Which spell? And we'll come back to that in a moment, I think. I love very much looking at this powerful character in the face and asking for a weapon, not knowing. Yeah. Knowing not what you were going to get. That's kind of cool. I like when roleplay interaction issues. Ah. Oh dear. Oh my. I am back. Hello. Greetings. Can you hear me? Ah. I'm back. The Angstlamiri have a very simple trifecta of gods. The one that's most prominently discussed outside of their homelands is going to be, oh god, what was his name? Eterson, I think is his name. You think Ocean End of Madness. He is who challenges heroes, who finds those secret paths you'd never think to look at, that kind of stuff. Beyond them, there's also the goddess of family, and you honor the sort of father of all. Which really kind of helps you understand their society. Family is very important, but family isn't just your direct blood lineage. The idea of honor, the idea of prowess is very important to their society. And indeed, getting lost is sometimes the best way to be found. Unix. Have any characters that are going to be a part of Season 4 already shown up? That's an excellent question, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that I would never tell you the answer to that. Anyways, no, Flower Maiden. I'll be honest with you, they have not appeared yet. However, characters foreshadowing the season have definitely appeared. You mean the fog? Assassination attempt. Audio dead? What? My audio's reading. Oh my god. I guess you guys missed me talking about the Angstlamiri gods, huh? Yeah, basically sometimes getting lost is the best way to be found. They have a god that values honor and battle and prowess, a god that values family, but notes that family is not always made by blood. And they have a god that is of getting lost and of losing yourself, so that you can uncover something new. That final one's the one we talk about the most, the one that is most connected to outside peoples as well. The Isles themselves, which is the closest landmass to Kara, is a really... like, there's a lot of small groups of people. Not as small as Kara, but, like, the Bailey tribes are several hundred people in size, sometimes as much as 1,000. No more. Fonzia, Anyways, I suppose I'll go back and re-answer some questions. Maldor's spell going away on Kara? Which spell? Which spell, Teddy Lover? Tell me which, and perhaps I will get you some more information. The Saints. Indeed. And there have not been any Season 4 character appearances thus far. However, there have been characters which have, and ideas which have been presented that are preparing you all for what Season 4 will be. And that will continue to be the case. Just like in Season 3, how I made sure to play a couple of characters to present ideas to you all beforehand. But this time it's not just me. And then how in Season 2 we had Maldor appear before the season, just so people would be prepared for the idea of him. The Queen is from Fonzia as well. Ah, you decided that the captain would be from Fonzia. That makes sense. Fonzia, one of the elder houses of the Angstlamiri. People who are entirely noble in birth and certainly weren't derived from pirates. Oh, they probably were. Pirates who settled in the Isles, yeah, using Dorman ships. And my music's so deadly. Let's chill. I'm here to chill. Do I have a favorite NPC that's going to be showing up this season? I don't know. I am very happy, and this is why I spoke on Ergus Glowgorge. I'm very pleased with everyone's NPC design to at least some degree. I mean, to be fair, I've worked with these people for a little while now. We all know the kind of things we want to do. But to get to present Ergus Glowgorge, who is a very famous character in my world, he is perhaps the most famous explorer. If you go to a place that has a name and you're like, how did this place get its name? Chances are Ergus Glowgorge named it. He is kind of a myth and legend, and he writes little adventure books. He's a dwarf, too. The Queen found... Oh, when the Queen found out that Ezra was like, they were pirates, she was so sad. Yeah. To Eve, well, he was as honest as he could be, you know? Kardec used to be a slave, the Libertalia. Dwarves. Something about dwarves gets me ready for adventure. I don't know. I don't know what it is. You can see that over on my server under one of the questions of the day. But yeah, is there... I guess we've been flying through questions. Maybe I should go check my notes. See if I had anything important to say today. Let's see. ask people what's good about the medievalization, but I think everyone's been enjoying that sort of slow push towards D&D. It's just a lot easier for me to design for, so I appreciate it. I could flick through some questions of the day or just some general questions, but I think we're getting some good ones from people thus far. If you want my whack opinions on various things, I am known for being strongly opinionated. If you just want to ask about your own characters, like, I'm happy to just answer questions today. I'm trying to make this a little more regular so that people know they can just come and ask questions. It just feels like it would be nice for people, you know? Opinion on peanut butter. I actually really like peanut butter, but I don't want sugary peanut butter. I want crunched up peanuts with salt. If I want sugar on my peanut butter toast or sandwich or whatever, I will put some like apricot jam or some such thing on it. It's just the best way. I don't know what else to say. Like, use your ingredients to their fullest extent, you know? What is the coolest magic I've seen used in my world? That's a good question. I always like it when people really theme their magic so it feels like it's a good connection, that it makes sense. I design a lot of magical stuff, and so when it comes to these questions of like what was the coolest, maybe I'll think of some things that come from like recent memory, like how the hag Auntie Kane had prepared specific spells with special components for the characters, and how people were able to dispel and shift that away, or I got to play Azamundus, a legendary necromancer, literally the sorcerer king of undeath, the mummy king. That was whack. But the coolest, my favorite way I've ever seen magic used was when I used it myself as a player, and I cast Levitate on the enemy mage, and I kicked him into the stratosphere. I literally sent him to the sky, and we never saw him again. There's a lot of really fun ways you can use magic. You agree with peanut butter? I think smooth peanut butter has its place for baking, and that's about it. Very self-serving question. What do you think the biggest culture shock Kara-born individuals learning about or leaving Kara would be? Yeah, the days being set, we'll ignore some of that, and we'll definitely ignore the overabundancy of resources in Kara, because that's something I will never talk about ever. And if you make me talk about it in character, I will turn Kara into a strip mine. I will not. I absolutely would not. I suppose the biggest culture shock would probably be either seeing children or just how careful soldiers are, perhaps. Like, just how much preparation someone who is professionally doing these things does. The gear born in Kara would be very laissez-faire, like, I'll get what I come across and I'll just fight whatever with whatever I have. I don't really need my armor. Right? Yeah. I think that would be the biggest culture shock. Is the level of preparation people take it in. What I think about you using the captain to establish official trading routes between Isles and Kara. You could, although something to note is you are bound by the confines of the game. So that means another. But if you can convince people you're doing it, that's pretty cool. You have arrived, Silos mentioned. Welcome to the fields. The look I gave the cameras. Every once in a while I think about how much gold is in Kara, and I wonder at how gold has any value at all. And the only answer I can come up with is it's not real. It's not real, Zach. It's not real. It's all a dream. When they leave Kara, it becomes a tiny little fleck. That block becomes a tiny little fleck of gold. Yeah. Raw emeralds. Yep. Where do I think pizza would originate from? Now, there's two answers to this, okay? Answer number one is northern Dacia. Because the climate and the ideas behind the peoples there is very similar to where we commonly associate pizza having originated in the real world. Nothing like what we had, but flatbread with things on it, and maybe some olive oil or a light sauce. Probably not a sauce. The other answer is like on a coastal city on North Dormus, which is probably the best approximation of the East Coast USA that we're gonna get. A desert. I know. Not even remotely similar. I wonder how different pizza would be if it originated there. I don't know. I don't know, Cookie. Stewart's Cross has multiple silos. What is my world's Roman Empire? That's very simple. That would be the Dacian Empire. Or perhaps the Accordant Empire, if you want to go that crazy. But I feel like the Accordant is probably a little bit closer in design to something like the Chinese tributary system. Whereas Dacia really went in and conquered pretty much everything around them and set up governorships, which is actually where Maldor had the idea to create governorships. Because those historically worked very well until the first governor died, and then they fell apart. As all loyalty was suddenly lost. The Accordant Empire is a very interesting and important piece of the world for sure. That is the ancient empire in my world, right? It was created by elves, and it collapsed thousands of years ago now. But elves live a really long time. There are people who say, my grandfather was there. There's still a couple people who can be like that. My grandfather was there when the empire fell. I've made my way out to the Isles. What's going on in the Grand City currently? Currently in Dacia, or in Nicete, I suppose is the Grand City we're talking about here. In Nicete, the clergy, the Bailey Lothran, have taken over and have started organizing systems to better suit their needs and the people's needs, rather than how resources were allocated before, which was towards the need for immediate defense. So I suppose life is improving in Nicete, as long as you're Bailey Lothran. You love playing ambassadors and politicians. That's probably what you'd end up doing if you joined the team. I wish living with his family. They have, you know, relatively steady set of income. They are Kayadir, but they are very near one of the paths to the Underdark, so that's not nearly so uncommon. Hooray! No racism. Afraid is the secret weapon. What about your lot's characters? Do you have any cool little ideas you've been thinking about, or maybe little plots you've been considering, or maybe you just want them to travel or something? Does it make sense for me to speak with a Welsh accent as the captain? It would be fine, I'm sure. I have not done very well at tying specific accents to places. Oh, part of me thinks that's just fine because it's fantasy. It doesn't need to mirror the real world. One day I'll redo how languages work, though, in my world. One day. We'll get there. Maybe right after I redo abjuration magic. You? Plotting? Nah. You sure, Nika? No plots? You don't want to share with the class? We're happy to hear. Ice blood magic? Yeah, nothing much. Look. Now I have to ask, are you going to be doing blood magic, as in the bending and shifting of blood? Or are you doing blood magic, as in Gramier, aka magic which is, which can use blood as a component? Darkovia flashbacks, oh dear. Self-serving question. How was your day? I've had a really nice day. It's almost over already, which always makes me scared. I've had a lot of days like that. Busy, 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 busy. Never ends. But then I think, that means I was having a lot of fun with people, wasn't I? And that means what I'm making is probably worthwhile. The former within reason for Glade? Oh god, he's gonna be bending blood. That's terrifying. That's terrifying, Nico. I usually use Hemomancer just to make people think that it's not Gramier when I do that kind of thing. And I've had, oddly enough, I've had hags use Gramier to do that. I'll have to show you my, my Hag of the Wound that does that. Interest in manipulating it and freak. Nah, you're gonna have a lot of fun with that. You're gonna have a lot of fun. You want me to show you? Set up some things without revealing too much. Maybe I shouldn't do that on the boat. Someone walks up to me. Steps back been taken. Yeah. As long as you're trying to have fun, I think you will have fun. This is Owen Lanthel. Oh, Tenny Lover, I'm using Silder's Extreme Lighting. Shaders I always come back to because no other set of shaders has quite just the warmth of light in this, and just the way it glows through and how it passes through glass. Nothing else quite gets it. It's just really lovely. Yeah, probably. Probably would murder your PC. But yeah, this is him. He is... Well, I won't reveal too much, but he is someone who was formerly an Inquisitor with the Inquisitors of the time, and so had already been kicked out by the time Maldor was killed and they were sort of disbanding. Are we going to see this little guy this next season? This one? No. Before this next season, though. Next season I will be playing Urgus Glowgorge, who will have his eyes. Technically, this guy does too. Just a religious thing. Is he a little guy? I don't know if this one is a little guy, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if this one is. What's the worst thing you've done? Once, I took a cultist and nailed them in front of the statue of their god. and let them deal with the shadows they had summoned. Will he be little guyified? Probably. People little guy everyone. People little guy everyone. Faye splitting in was the theme, was one of the kind of overarching themes. Themes is the wrong word, but one of the overarching ideas behind this last season. This next season will be very human. Thank the Lord. I love the Fae. I would do more with them if I could. But I don't like telling the same story twice. At least not the same people. Thank the Gamemaster. I'm not nearly so divine. It's true. As much as I might, whenever someone says something like that, I might go, yes. If your captain gets a little guyified. I suppose what we would be looking at is, once more, we're going to be looking at conflict and its root. And what happens when you disagree, certainly. One of my favorite stories to tell, but we're going to be telling it in a very different way. Indeed, I think our overarching theme will be that you should be honest and trust each other. Very well. Have a very good night, Noxus. I imagine we'll only be around till the hour here, so. Hello. Hello, King. Welcome by, King. I'm just floating around answering questions, if anyone has them. What was my favorite part of Season 3? Well, my favorite part of Season 3 was when Dallas's game and trial were on the menu, and Dallas's game and Austin's trial were on the menu, and the Lord of Flickering Lights was dancing around, and there was whispers of the Lord of Rot returning, and everything was mashing together while the granny was whispering in people's ears, and it felt like in a great calamitous clash, everything was coming forth, and something had to happen. I really liked that. And that may have gone into the design of this coming season. I hope you enjoyed my over-enthusiastic description of that. Think you made a good character? Give me a quick overview. I'll tell you what I think. You enjoyed that, not pocket. Where else can I fly off to real quick? Maybe we just go all the way to Stewart's Cross. Are there going to be pieces I can put together and themes you can overanalyze? I was very pleased when you did so with the last season bubble, because there was a lot of little things that I tried to make sure were included, both that the people who designed the characters wanted included, and also things I noticed that could be derived from them if they were organized in a very specific way. And I wanted people to be able to look at the language that was being used and the order that things were placed in to understand their situation better. And fun, so I didn't press too hard on that. Sometimes that's how it be. Sometimes you lose sight of the important piece, which is having fun. You take the little crumbs I leave. There will be more this season. There will be more. Plenty more. Everyone will be in on it. Little themes for each character binding together with the seasonal events, so to speak. I'm trying not to give anything away. Have I ever have a moment relating to a character that has hit me hard? Do you want to know the moment that hit me the hardest? It was a moment playing as Maldor, because I, as a person, do not agree with most of the things Maldor said, did, believed in. You are correct. You should value what they say more. But I had to be so times as when I was playing Maldor. And then they would just go up to him again and stab at him again. And it felt like people were exploiting a weakness more than it was like Maldor was just being negligent. It felt like people were exploiting Maldor. And that one hit me. Also his death. Also Austin. Also manipulating people as the granny hit me really hard at times. Because sometimes people, there was just two people really who saw past the facade for the granny, and that she was basically inviting them to play a game, right? The problem was, to her, the game was these people suffering, and she was good at it. I think that's the moments that hit me the hardest. Or I always get hit hard when someone tries to express an opinion that is valid and is shut down for it. Anytime that happens, I get hit really hard. Will there be whispers of Apophis this next season? I'm not sure if there will be. I think my design for a lot of that was good in a vacuum, but there was a number of troubles that arise from just the history of the world and the way people get attached to certain ideas. And I think presenting Apophis as an active actor was a mistake. But I hope people enjoyed it nonetheless. I'm glad you're enjoying. Did you had the power to say so? But in roleplay, we can. And it feels really good. I'm glad you liked that bubble. I've been told I have an okay sense of timing. You really enjoyed it? That's really good to hear, Hot Pocket. You guys are getting me with these questions at the end. There's some serious thought that goes into those kinds of things when that's what I never talked about designing the game. Are you going to be having fun? That's the very first thing that's on my list. Because if I don't think you're going to be having fun, like if I wouldn't be having fun, chances are other people aren't going to be having fun. And that's the whole point. The next thing on my list is there a cool scene or idea or section that I can help people experience or feel while they're having fun? Is there a theme or idea that the player has presented to me which I can incorporate into this? There was a really good question asked to me, which I don't think I ever gave a proper answer to, because I thought it was obvious. But I've come to realize that it's not so obvious. Why do I not create a season that is based upon what people in the world, like in Kara, are already working on and interested in? And the answer to that is that when we're dealing with so many people, so many players that are attached to things in different ways, attached to the idea of permanence even in some cases, the use of one of their items or one of their interests becomes untenable. It's like you need stakes. And you can say you can control things so that we don't have to worry about losing these things. I'm like, yeah, but then it's a step too far, right? A step too far from reality. There has to be an understanding that the world works in a way which makes sense. And if the story itself is written from day one and has a clear outcome, and then maybe we should have written a book. I really liked the idea of the whispers. You do agree? If I could choose one, and how does the season differ from those that came before? So, I would say get involved. Pick out a couple little guys who you want to interact with this season. And try to follow them around, try and help, maybe see about getting something regular scheduled, or just going to their events and chatting with other people about what they experienced, while making your own plans for how you can use what's happening to help further your character's goals. Even if those goals are something so self-serving as I want a higher position of power, or as community serving as I want to make sure that my friend doesn't fear this certain thing anymore. Really, I want you to build your own story with the season. Understand that the season is designed in a way where you will be able to interact with a bunch of small stories, and you're not going to be able... But if your focus is what you can experience, and how that affects your character, I think you're gonna have fun. And that's really how it differs, is in all past seasons we focused on making sure we only have one weekly event so that people can make it. In a week, you're not making it to all those. So you're gonna have to pick and choose. And if there's a group that happens to have less people in it, all I'm gonna say is that's a little more spotlight time for you. There. That was a really good question. Thank you, Bubble. I hope you all caught that, those remaining watching. We're starting to bleed people as the night goes on. And like you won't try. You can try, but the thing is, these characters are going to be on the ground more than just their event. You'll be able to catch them here and there in the streets. And getting to know every single character over the course of a month or two is quite the feat. Oh, I just opened Windows Defender. Anyways. I think with that, we'll start to wrap up for today. I'll try and host another. People can ask me about what's going on. I'm very pleased with the ideas behind Greater Than Greed. I'm very pleased with just the ways we're going to be helping integrate people so that they can have a better understanding of the world. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. It's really cool as well. Strange. Those are some of the most important things to me. Last question from me. What was your favorite event from the entire server ever? I don't know about my favorite event. I have been privy to hundreds of events now. Literally about 400 or 500. The ones that have always stuck with me were... I'll go from Season 1 and I'll move through Season 3. Season 1 was my very first Morgantha event at the little Halloween town built for her. When the server exploded that day and none of my helpers could get in, so it was just me and whoever was around trying to make it fun. That was crazy. Eternum event. I really enjoyed the Eternum event and how that tied into a number of things. Me crying. So that's something. And everything built up to it, and then after 3 days I was very sad. Siege, the slow battle forwards. I don't know how it was for those attacking. For those defending, that was really fun. We knew we were going to lose, right? But it was so fun. That siege is where, quote from Frayed, Season 3, I thought the dinner was really excellent. And the very first Surveyor event was beautiful. Henry played that so well. And just how far we can kind of... like, how much we can express. I think I mentioned the dinner. And of course, all my whispers beforehand. Yeah. On the server. Morgantha's in the running for sure, although I don't know if she's my favorite ever. She's just so whimsical, you know? Which is like, she's a hag, right? She's whimsical. I think the way that John played Drace was quite excellent. Provided a lot more depth to that character than we had originally thought. Have you ever wanted to know what it feels like to be the fly which escapes the spider's web? That one will stick with me forever. But sometimes who really just need your help. Sally's lovely. Yeah. And I won't pick anyone's player characters, because I think I've gone through that one before. There's a lot of really excellent player characters. But I won't, like I say, I won't praise people for them, because they know. If they know, they know. Anyways, I thank you all very much for coming and spending some time with me and just chatting about the world, about various NPCs and events and the different seasons, and just a little bit about design. Because the design gets really, really interesting when you start designing for a lot of people. Because you have two choices. I think we've chosen the harder choice, in that we are trying to create something engaging. And I hope that you all have a lot of fun with it. I will talk to you all another time. Let me put up my orb. There we go, there's the orb. Darkened. I will see you all next time.